Safety J is here for this intro on Will This 6.5 Run, just because he's kind of the 6.5 guy.
6.5!
See, he's totally qualified for this. To make sure we can safely get this 6.5 running. This is a 6.5 we bought. We're gonna see if it will run, which I mean, kind of obviously you probably saw it run in the intro, and here's this, and yeah, it runs. But here's a video on the lengthy process of how we get this thing running and what's up with it. So, hope you enjoy the video. Welcome to Black Diesel Garage. This is all backwards. Bye. All right, Mr. 6.5. So I want to get my Chevy 6.5er DOT inspected. What do I got to do to pass the DOT inspection so I can tow big loads with the tow mirrors? What do I got to do to get them fancy tow mirrors on the rig, along with the rookie rods?
Well, first of all, do your glow plugs only work half the time?
Yes.
Okay, we're halfway there. Does your ABS light come on?
All the time.
Okay, I mean, I can do the certification and we can get you down the road.
All right, let's do it.
Man, those tie rods and everything, they look terrible, but you know, this is Kansas. We got potholes for days.
Is this okay, having the angle? That's correct, right? The
Personally,
tread angle?
that helps when you got those big trailer loads and you're overweight to just kind of roll it. I mean, just roll it. You got a little bit of door sag. That, you know, you ain't got a 6.5, you ain't got door sag.
No, I have to shut it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, just slam that, just, you know.
I have to.
Oh, your dome light works. That could almost get your road up, but I'll let it slide.
Can I pull the bulb? Will that help?
Yeah, I would do that, honestly.
Okay.
That's just, you know, for whatever. Yep, Yep.
Here, let me help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, 2 inspection records. Yep, just drop that. We don't need that anymore. Yep. You don't run the special cherry, do you? You know, that gets a little expensive, but you put some Twizzlers in there, they won't know the difference.
Oh, really?
Just don't try it in the winter. Premium handle around there, keep up the good work.
Yeah, I got the special wax just like yours.
Yeah.
I saw you do that once, so I did it.
You learned from the best, didn't you? Yeah. You got the grandpa running boards, you know, with your bad knees and everything. You want to, so you got the 5-speed. You have that 5-speed. Roll on for family. You want to pop the hood?
Oh. Yeah.
And yeah, this is goes like that. Oh, I don't know, man. This is looking just a little too clean for me. It's just
okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. It has a problem.
What's that? Here, 6.5. I mean, it just the people that drive them, they're amazing. They build America. They build America.
But here's my problem. See, I don't have the grip.
You gotta have 50% blow by to pass the 6.5 quality test. Run some vegetable oil. I mean, I don't care what you do, but you're almost pushing it. You can't have that. Besides needing to just get rid of this, throw it in a ditch with a few beer cans, I think he'll be okay. I think you can go overload by about 3,000 pounds. I'll sign you off and you are good to go.
Okay.
That's all I have, so stay safe, everybody.
Welcome to Black Diesel Garage. I'm Gabe, and in this video, we're gonna take this 95 6.5 Chevy 4x4 extended cab long bed, 5-speed, and we're gonna see if we can get it running. This truck's been sitting a year. Has rust on either side there. Has a rust hole there. And then there's some bubbling there. Got a dent there, and it's got a few little hail dents you can see in the paint or something. It's on the roof. It's got some peeling paint here, some on the hood. I'm trying to free the ball up. It has a gooseneck ball. I had to take the bush guard off to pull it home. Got a nice aluminum toolbox. Rear tires aren't bad. They're pretty close to new. The front ones are wore on the outsides. They're a little dry rotted, but I think it's because, as always on these Chevys, these bushings were wore out, but this piece looks a lot newer than everything else. So I think they replaced these, and these are wore from the old ones in there. So I think the problem's been taken care of. There's the 6.5 motor. Interior is not too bad. It's blue. Has 200,000 miles on it. It's a manual. There's the 4-wheel drive shifter, 5-speed. And so far on this thing, we started charging the batteries. I don't know how old the batteries are. It has been sitting a year. It worked a year ago. The guy I bought it from said that he was changing all the fluids, and he was messing around with that and caused some sparks on the glow plug system and couldn't get it started, so he let it sit for a year. I hooked up this little trigger, which isn't even heavy enough to be running the glow plugs, so it smokes when you squeeze it. But we're gonna try to use that to run the glow plugs. Let me see here. I'll probably wind up cracking some of these injector lines, and then we'll crank it over, maybe throw some ether at it and see if it starts. Oh, and it has a new clutch, throwout bearing, and pressure plate. So without further ado, let's get into it. Well, it's probably not the correct way to go about it, but I got all four broke loose on this side. I have the one up front here broke, but there's three others back there that are going to be pretty hard to get to because all the turbo stuff, so I'm going to leave them. So Maddie's going to crank the truck over, no glow plugs, just crank it over till we have fuel coming out. So I'll tell you when to stop cranking. Okay, stop. Okay, go again. Okay, stop. So we're not getting fuel coming out of them yet, and it's still not cranking over very fast. So this probably won't work, but maybe we can run the truck off ether and get them to start squirting fuel out. All right, go ahead and turn it over. Okay, try again. All right, so we're gonna have to let it charge a little more and get some more juice in it, because that's not quick enough to do anything with. So we will continue this project once it's all charged up. All right, so I did a little tinkering around on this thing, and while the batteries were charging, this one was making a sizzling sound, so I'm sure it's probably no good. That one didn't make a noise. This solenoid here to shut off the fuel doesn't appear to be getting power. And I have one battery here free I can stick in this thing, not two. So I'm gonna leave that battery in, and I'm just gonna pull this battery out and stick the other one in. And for now, I'm just gonna, they didn't have any burnt fuses. I haven't checked the relays yet. So for now, I'm just gonna run some jumper wires over to the battery I stick in here to turn on the fuel solenoid, so that when I crank the truck over, it can let fuel pass so I can bleed the injectors and maybe run. So I'm gonna get to swapping out the battery. All right, so this battery here actually has 0 volts on it. Let's see if I can get that again. Make sure I'm on the studs real quick. Okay, it has 5 volts on it. Well, the battery I just yanked out has 10 volts, so I'm actually going to pull this one out and put the other one in here. So I just put in the batteries, I hooked up the solenoid here, and I'm going to crank it over. But I think I'll go ahead and throw a little ether in it, just because why not? Okay, crank on it. that is a failed attempt because I forgot this battery right here is dead. I need to charge that. So I will charge it, then we'll try this.
Ready?
Yep. Why won't it start? Yep. That's weird. Well, you can hear it wants to fire, but it doesn't fire. All right, so I don't know what I last showed you guys, but I have figured out this works, but it's not turning on with power. It's not getting power. Have a bunch of fuel leaking everywhere. And I get fuel out of this dealio, the bleeder for the system, but I can't get fuel to the injectors. So I am going to pull the intake horn off, or whatever you call it, so I can see this stuff better and get to this. And I'm going to start probing around with things and try to figure out what all doesn't have power and why I don't have power, and clean the photo eye and random things like that. So we'll get to that. Oh, and I had to plop different batteries in here. Those others weren't enough. Well, the photo eye does not work hooked to the truck, which I knew that. I pulled it out and I ran jumper wires and did confirm it does work if it has power. I don't think it's supposed to be like this, but for some reason the lift pump only goes when I push the clutch in. So I'm gonna assume I have wiring messed up somewhere, because I don't have power to this and the lift pump works only when I push the clutch in. Which maybe the lift pump's only for starting. I'd assume it's for running, but maybe it's only for starting. I don't know about these. The photo eye is unplugged. And I did have fuel come out of here, and I had fuel come out of the bleeder. I still have yet to have fuel come out of the injectors themselves. So I'm going to squirt a little fuel out the top of it. I'll turn my charger back on and I will try to start this with power going to this. So I heard it click on, it is working. I bled both these parts, I gave it a little bit of ether, and I'm going to start it. And to no surprise, that didn't get me anywhere. Now this is 2-cycle gas. Not a good thing to do, but I'm doing it. Alright, so I didn't even want to fire on that. I'm going to look up some stuff and then get back on this. Well, I couldn't find any reason why it shouldn't be getting fuel to the injectors unless the injection pump's bad, which I wouldn't assume so, and I sure hope not. So I'm going to just try getting it running on something, what I've been trying on some fuel. I actually went and grabbed some diesel fuel, and I'm going to treat it like as if it were carbureted, putting fuel down the intake. But I'm here by myself, and I can't put fuel down the intake and be cranking it over at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and poke a hole in the top of this and prop it up somewhere and let it spill into there and crank it over. All right, so maybe that's enough fuel to get it started. Well, that was probably not the most productive because I had the fuel disconnect turned off. Fuel shut off turned off. All right, so the intake's off and everything. I couldn't get it started by myself. Now I have help starting it. And I really don't want to dig into things without actually trying to get it running first. I don't want to dig in the fuel system, so maybe we can get it started this way before I actually have to tear things apart. I just want to hear it run, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the fuel solenoid and see if we can get it to start. Go ahead and do the glow plugs once and go ahead and try to start it. Put some diesel in a spray bottle and see if that works better. Okay, now go. Yeah.
Just for like 5 seconds?
Yeah. Well, so far all my attempts of starting this by cramming fuel down it have failed. And when I bought it, the guy did say he was changing out the filters and caused some sparks back here. I asked some questions online and everyone's saying stuff about electrical based off what I told them. So I'm gonna go ahead and yank this thing out of the way, pull that out, unhook the lines and stuff, and try to go through my electrical because all the fuses are good and see if there's any wire issues. I'm a 7.3 Ford mechanic, not a 6.5 diesel. They're pretty close to the same engine, sort of ish. The big thing is just that they operate the same except for the Ford barely has any electrical. And that's probably why I'm a Ford guy, is the no wires on the stuff. I'm not big on wires, so this isn't gonna be fun, but let's get into it. I had stuff taken apart and my brother was over and we found the problem. This wire right here, 2 little ones on the back right here, are snapped off the thing. So I put them through this and connected it to this just because I can't get parts right now and that's all I have. So I'm gonna attach this back on here, but that ground being broken was the cause to all my problems, I'm pretty sure. And I took the fuel filter housing out, which was leaking a lot of diesel fuel. But I think everything should work now. I'll just have to put it back together. And here's my fuel filter housing. I'm changing the O-ring on the bottom because it's leaking. And I'm pretty sure this is the heating element, but the wires were all bare and exposed. You got to buy a whole new one of these, I think, to get this. And at the moment, I can't get this part. So just to get it running, I threw some liquid electrical tape on the thing to keep arcs from happening, but I don't think that was actually my problem. So I'm gonna go see if I have an O-ring that fits and try to get it all back together. And hopefully the thing should fire then. So I'll get to throwing this back together. All right. So I temporarily threw everything together. The housing's just sitting here, hooked up though. This is on there to have those sensors going. And everything should be hooked up. I'm gonna squirt a little fuel at it while it's cranking over. We still have cracked injector lines, but I have a pretty good feeling everything's working. It's gonna start now with those grounds hooked up. So we're gonna try to start it now. Oh, that's pretty close. That was pretty close to starting, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook the injector lines up and we're gonna see if it'll run. Well, sorry, the phone died, so we didn't catch this thing actually getting its first start up and running. It had to die at the perfect time to where we didn't get that, sadly. So I'm gonna see if it'll start up for a cold start, at least for you guys. And it started right up when it did. And this thing actually starts up amazing if the batteries didn't lose all their juice. So we're gonna see if it has juice. It's probably sat here for 20 hours, so we'll see if it fires up. Do the glow plugs one more time. Okay. There it is. That is pretty much the way it started when we first got this thing running. It runs good. Well, I think that's pretty much all for this video, except for we have a couple things we're going to do to it. Still need to do some more things, so we will have another video on this coming out. It's basically going to be cleaning it up to sell it though, so you'll get to see a video of what I usually do to things to get them cleaned up before I sell them. Well, thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I know it probably wasn't quite what you wanted to see. It wasn't the most thoroughest filmed or very well done video. As I've said before, I'm really busy all the time, so I barely have any time to make videos or do any research on anything. Hopefully someday I can get to the point where I do have time to make thorough videos, but as it is, you can tell I'm not getting them out that often right now, and they're not the best, but hopefully eventually I can get to the point where I have a little more time to do better videos. But thanks for watching. All the support you guys send is appreciated. All the comments, the likes, and the subscribes, they help a ton. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.